Hello, it is another Wednesday night, and you know what we do here Wednesday nights. For first-timers, it is time we bring to you the news with an extra touch. And so here I am with the News Extra. The biggest election in a long while, and it is going to the wire as the contestants go neck to neck. Where else but the U.S. presidential elections? We will come to it sooner than later. Back home, the Federal Executive Council keeps up the tempo on roads construction and rehabilitation, approves more at today's meeting. The violence that trailed the NSAS protests are still fresh in the minds of Nigerians. We on News Extra 2 have not forgotten, and we have quite a bit on the issue. The race to maintain the January to December budget cycle is on course as the National Assembly drops almost everything else to concentrate on budget defense by ministries and agencies of government. Of course, we have a bit on security, transportation, health, governance, and more. Let me assure you that the package tonight is a must-watch. Like the thief people say, the head is available. Let's not test the cap on the knee. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umar Buba, and this is News Extra. You're welcome. Americans, and indeed the global community, are awaiting the outcome of the just concluded presidential elections in the United States. This is coming as a Nigerian secures a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Musa Babaliu reports.
2 out of the 9 Nigerian Americans that contested in the Tuesday's U.S. general elections have been declared winner as members of the House of Representatives and the State Assembly. Oye Owolewa won the U.S. congregational seat for Democratic Party to represent Washington, D.C. metropolis in the House. 31-year-old politician is the first Nigerian congressman in the U.S. history. His father is from Kwara and mother from Oyo State, Nigeria. Esther Agbaji also won a seat in the State Assembly election to represent District 59B in the 134-member House on the platform of the Democratic Party. In the meantime, the Democrat maintains the lead in the House of Representatives, controlling 227 seats, leaving the Republican with 208 seats. Also, the Republican has secured 47 seats in the Senate, with the Democrats in possession of 46 seats. However, the coast is not clear now if the Republican Donald Trump will continue to occupy the White House as America's president for the next 4 years. This is because the result of the country's presidential election announced so far show that Democrat Joe Biden is leading in both national and electoral college votes. The Republican incumbent so far has won in 26 states, including big places such as Florida, Texas, Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, and Ohio, while Joe Biden has captured 18 states, including his home state. The America's Electoral College winning vote is 270.
Keep the faith, guys. We're going to win this.
Shortly after Biden said he was confident of winning the contest once the votes are counted, Trump appeared at the White House to declare victory and said his lawyers would be taking his case to the U.S. Supreme Court without specifying what they would claim.
It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it.
If Donald Trump is defeated, he will be the second incumbent president to lose a re-election fight after George W. Bush in 1992. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
I will say congratulations to those that won. So let's talk more on the U.S. presidential elections. And joining us now to do so from Chicago, Illinois, United States, is a multi-Emmy and Associate Press Award winner, a professor of journalism, Dr. Janice Marie Collins. It's good to have you on News Extra, Doctor. We'll get Doctor back later. Let me continue with the news. When we get her, we'll continue with the interview. Again, infrastructure takes pride of place as the Federal Executive Council has approved over 87 billion naira for the construction, rehabilitation and completion of critical roads projects in parts of the country. This is part of efforts at sustaining the nation's trajectory towards addressing infrastructure deficit for enhanced socio-economic development. And State House correspondent Adam Musambo has the report.
It was the 31st meeting of the highest policy decision-making body of the Nigerian government for the year 2020 and 22nd to be held virtually in the new normal. With President Muhammadu Buhari presiding, the council considered and approved several memoranda on the enhancement of roads infrastructure in the southwest, north central, as well as the nation's capital, Abuja. For the FCT in particular, 30.6 billion naira has been approved for what the Minister Muhammad Musa Bello described as full-scale development of arterial road linking the Sheikh Musa Yaradua Way with the Murtala Muhammad Way, otherwise referred to as the Kubwa Expressway. And in line with the general standards of roads in the FCT, the project to be completed in 32 months also comprised the provision of a number of bridges as well as telecommunications, power and water supply components.
The project is within phase 2 of the Federal Capital City and is going to serve adjoining districts of Mabushi, Kado, Katampe and Jahi. And it will also generally enhance overall the congestion of traffic in phases 1, 2, 3 and 4 of the Federal Capital City.
Similarly, 47.5 billion naira has also been approved for the completion of the 52-kilometer Oyo-Ogbomosho Highway in furtherance of the Buhari administration's policy directive of completing existing projects. The project is part of the 145-kilometer Ilorin-Ibadan Highway awarded in the year 2010.
We needed to adjust some things in the scope of works, the thickness of the pavement from 500 mm to 560 mm, to also change the asphalt to polymer modified bitumen, and also the shoulders from surface dressing to fully asphalted inside and outside shoulders. So all of this require changes in prices of 47.504 billion, and this has increased the total contract price to 105.041 billion.
The minister also secured the council's approval for the completion of Loko Iweto Bridge across River Benue, linking Nasarawa and Benue states.
That project was awarded in 2011, and it was awarded in 3 different sections. One section, the road to Benue, Oshogbedo Uweto, was awarded to one contractor. We have completed that road. The bridge was awarded to another contractor. The bridge is essentially finished now, is open to traffic. And then the Loko to Nasarawa 74 kilometers was awarded to another contractor. We are trying to sort out that problem and we will come back to it. So the approval given today was a 9,348,000,000 variation to complete the bridge component, the remaining work on the bridge. But as you know, if you go there now, it's already open to traffic, just finishing abutment work and to link the existing road on the Benue side to the bridge is what we got this variation for.
The Loko Iweto Bridge, already in use, the minister said, provides a major time-saving detour of about 4 hours for the motoring public coming from the south through Benue and Nasarawa states and to Abuja, the nation's capital. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, ministers of the Federal Republic from the southwest region of the country are asking the federal government to undertake a thorough investigation into the alleged shooting at the Lekki Toll Plaza with the view to bringing perpetrators to justice. They also said efforts must be intensified towards restoring confidence in the Nigerian police, as well as supporting Lagos State to rebuild damaged facilities. These were parts of the recommendations the ministers submitted to the Federal Executive Council. And State House correspondent Adamu Sambo again has the report.
Following the wanton looting and destruction of both public and private property in the aftermath of the NSAS protests in parts of the country, President Muhammadu Buhari directed ministers to visit their states with a view to finding facts on the worrisome development. Consequently, the returning ministers have started briefing the Federal Executive Council on the situation in their states and the best way forward. Works and Housing Minister Babatunde Fashola, on behalf of his colleagues from the Southwest region, described their engagement with those that matter, as well as tour of affected areas, as an eye-opener.
Summary of which is that about 15 police stations were lost, commercial undertakings, especially malls in Lekki and many other parts and Sule were damaged, some schools were also damaged, private property was also damaged, public buildings like the City Hall, the Lagos High Court, the Lagos Forensic Laboratory and DNA Center, the Nigerian Post Authority were also damaged, of course, the Palace of the Oba of Lagos and many others.
Apart from showing the documentary evidence received from the governor of Lagos State, the Southwest members of the council recommended, amongst others, that a center of excellence be supported to restore damaged facilities, especially those relating to the maintenance of law and order, as well as the administration of justice.
To also urge the federal government to consider short to medium-term assistance to small and medium businesses who were affected by the looting and arson which took place in Lagos and in other parts of the country, to see if this can be done through the central bank intervention mechanism under the COVID-19 funding or any other related funding mechanism. We also recommended the federal government to actively seek and support the pursuit of justice for all by ensuring that any of those apprehended or identified to have been involved in perpetration of this carnage be speedily brought to justice and fairly tried. We also urge the federal government to consider issues of substance abuse amongst the populace and propose solutions because this potentially affects mental health. We made this recommendation mindful of the global opioid and substance abuse crisis and the impact on our country as well. And we think this is a matter that requires some attention and focus.
A recommendation has also been made by the ministers from the Southwest that critical agencies and organs of government like the National Orientation Agency be remobilized to focus on ethical reorientation, critical thinking, empathy, self-respect, civic duty, and human rights while inculcating family values into the school curriculum. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Well, thank you so much, Adamu Sambo. We are now heading to the United States of America to talk more on the U.S. presidential elections. And we have, like I said earlier, a multi-Emmy and Associate Press Award winner, a professor of journalism, Dr. Janice Marie Collins. It's good to have you on NewsExtra tonight.
Good evening. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, Doctor, tell us, the 2020 US presidential election seems to be going to the wire. What is the update from there?
Yes. Well, a couple of things that are really surprising is the fact that the turnout has been so huge. This may actually be the first time in quite some time that the president, the elected president, will have won both the popular vote as well as the electoral college. So they're neck and neck. It is really, really surprising. And the second thing that's most surprising is when we had blue states, for instance, that were Democratic historically, they've been now turned red with Republican because President Trump has been able to go in and make a difference. The same thing on the other side. The red states have now turned blue. And so people historically, generationally, who usually vote Democrat are now voting Republican and vice versa. So that's very, very interesting.
Okay. Yes, you said it's really surprising and also interesting. So will you say that this is the indicative of today's America?
I think it is. Like most things, when we have a free democracy where we believe that every voice and every vote matters, it's really hard to predict a lot of different things. We have a very diverse population. And when you have that many people of your population heading to the polls, it is really unpredictable, but it is absolutely typical of this day and time. We've become accustomed to the different ins and outs of this administration, so we're not really surprised about too much. It is very difficult, however, to call the race. For instance, Georgia is one of the contested fights right now where Biden is winning at this point in time. However, there are still unaccounted absentee ballots that still have to be included. So this could flow either way. It is really, really extremely, extremely tight. But it's really exciting. The people are voting, and that's what's really, really great. I also should tell you that as predicted, as I said yesterday, we've had our first challenge. President Trump is challenging the state of Wisconsin for a recount. Now, at this time, Biden is winning. He's winning 50%. I think it's about 50% to 48. And there are only 200 ballots that haven't been counted. So we're not really sure where this is going, but that's our first challenge of a state where President Trump has said he wants another recount.
Oh, okay. So people say it's too close to call. You know, that is what many observers are saying. So how soon are we going to, learn the name of the next occupant of the White House?
You'll probably learn about it as soon as we do, because we've had the contested challenge of recount. It doesn't mean that will actually be done. He wants to take it to the Supreme Court, President Trump, but in that state, every state has its own laws and policies. There has to be a 5% difference in the tabulation in order to have a recount. Right now, that doesn't exist, as far as we know, with the other counts coming in. So yesterday, I predicted the end of this week. We're at Wednesday now. I'm still thinking probably by the end of this week, the challenges may subside. I think there may be more challenges between today and Friday, but I'm thinking we're hoping at least over the next day or so, we'll know who's president, but a lot of all the polls have been closed. All of the counting is going on. Actually, we may be tonight.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Jenny. It is a very, very interesting update from you there all the way from the U.S., Chicago, Illinois. Now, moving on, traditional rulers have admonished Nigerian youths to be more organized when next they need to express themselves, while advising the government to rework with its program to accommodate more youths. And Victor Azu reports that the monarchs gave their advice on the sidelines of the emergency meeting of the National Council of Traditional Rulers in Nigeria.
The recent EndSARS protests and the mayhem that trailed it across the country is still a source of worry to many. It is also the major reason for traditional rulers across the country to converge on Abuja for an emergency meeting. They are closest to the people at the grassroots, so expect their counsel to be from the abundance of first-hand experiences of the protests and aftermath in their various domains.
I was at the age of 24, became governor for 8 years. So I know how the youth think. I know their thinking. And all they need is to be engaged, to be given something gainful, and to be trained for the future.
All the youths are our children. And I think, one, we've got to recognize that they've got something to offer. and bring them into the fold in terms of governance, in terms of decision making, in terms of making them feel that they're human beings.
Taking stock of all that has happened, the royal fathers want to avert a future occurrence of the crisis that became of the peaceful protest. For the Olubo of Uboland, it could have been worse if the president did not wade in when he did.
What left for every one of us now is to do the thinking, look at what we could do to stop it not to happen again.
We hope that next time when the youths of this country want to come together to ask for some of those legitimate things that should come to them, they should be better organized. They should try to see what they can do, not to allow miscreants and undesirable elements to take over what should have been a legitimate right of them to express their wish and demand to the authorities of this country.
Indeed, words of our elders are words of wisdom, and those who heed them find the pathway to peace and progress. In Abuja, Victor Azo, NTA News.
The Independent Investigative Panel on Human Rights Violations by the defunct SARS and other units of the Nigerian police has so far received more than 150 complaints across FCT and the 6 geopolitical zones. Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, Tony Ojukwu, made this known at the inaugural sitting of the panel in Abuja. Omenka Amarachiku completes the report.
This is the first sitting of the Independent Investigative Panel on Human Rights Violation by the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad and other units of Nigerian Police Force. The panel has been set up in pursuance of human rights violation in the wake of NSAS protests.
Furthermore, the setting aside of Victims' Compensation Fund in each state for the settlement of any awards of compensation by the various ongoing panels of investigation strengthens government resolve to deal with cases of human rights violations as stipulated under the Constitution.
Our panel will endeavor in every respect to abide by the rules of natural justice, to be fair and just to all manner of persons who appear before us.
The panel has a period of 6 months to entertain complaints and make recommendations to the federal government for implementation. In Abuja, Omenka Marchuku, NTA News.
The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, is in Edo State to assess the police assets touched and vandalized during the NSAS protest. Ogochukwu on reports on this and other engagements on the itinerary of the IGP.
The properties burnt and destroyed in the state are 7 police stations and posts, 8 police patrol vehicles, 5 police officers' personnel vehicles, and 31 exhibit vehicles, while 11 police officers were injured. The IGP and his entourage, accompanied by the Deputy Governor of the state, Philip Shaibu, inspected the level of damage at Ugbekun and St. Saviour divisions, where the buildings and vehicles were set ablaze, armory broken into, and arms and ammunition carted away. The team was also at the Correctional Center in Oko Central, where almost 2,000 inmates were set free during the jailbreak. Addressing officers and men of the command after paying a visit to the only officer still admitted at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, the IGP encouraged them not to allow the current setback rob them of the gains achieved in the fight against crime.
The attack on the police and police stations, we believe the aim was to demoralize you, to humiliate you, to make you feel that you don't have support at all from the members of the public. But it is not the case. Despite all the protests, all the attacks on the police, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, came out and openly supported the police. And what did he say? I quote, he said the vast majority of the men and women of the Nigerian police force are patriotic and committed to protecting lives and livelihood of Nigerians. And we will continue to support them to do their jobs. So this is support from the highest authority. So if we have this support, we should never be demoralized.
The Commissioner of Police, Edo State, Johnson Kukumo, says the encouragement from the government and the IGP is a morale booster for the command. The IGP has also visited the governor of the state, Governor Obaseki, where he expressed optimism that the launch of community policing in the nation's security system would prevent any reoccurrence of civil unrest like the hijacked NSAS protests.
I'm sure you're picking up very vital information because we still have so many of those inmates at large.
In Benin, Ogochkuka Ona, NTA News.
And in fulfillment of its quest to reform the Nigerian police force, the Lagos State Police Command has flagged off the debriefing and medical evaluation exercise for the operatives of the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, and other tactical units in the State Command. Nosawa Sulan reports that the flag-off, which took place at the Area F Command Hall, Ikeja, is on the order of the Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Adamu.
First outline includes public relations principles, concepts of community policing, standard operating procedure of the Nigeria Police Force, post-traumatic stress disorder, end SARS experience, challenges, hopes and aspiration, and the way forward. The State Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Udumosu, who reiterated the commitment of the Inspector General of Police to change the psyche of the operatives and prepare them for better police duties, which are entirely different from their previous duties, admonished the operatives to believe and key into the ongoing reform agenda of the IGP.
But to start members of the public, and you need to know the problem of the public before you can solve it. And one of the ways of letting you know their problem is you interacting with them, believing in the spirit of community policing, and building the trust in them before they cannot give information. One, for us to work, and secondly, for them to tell us where their problems are.
The police chief charged senior officers of the command to always supervise their men posted on duty at various locations across the state, stating that adequate supervision of officers and men will enhance good service delivery, especially during the ember months. In Lagos, Nosa Usula, NTA News.
I will now take you to Jalingo. Taraba State is well known for agricultural produce and has been benefiting from several federal government schemes to improve production. However, there is a rising concern of what will become of the next dry season farming set to kickstart following looting of almost all farming inputs kept to support farmers. In this report, Joseph Rosin takes a look at the impact of the youth unrest on agricultural support programs in Taraba State.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development facilities such as office complex, stores, and the newly established milk industry in Taraba State all came under attacks with equipment and farm inputs looted. The National Strategic Grain Reserve silos with a 25,000 tons storage capacity, completed and awaiting inauguration, was not spared as it was looted and vandalized by hoodlums.
The milk industry, once it is put into use, the multiplier effect is great. The women will be employed, the youth will be employed, other people will be employed here.
Facilities of other agricultural supporting agencies, like that of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, and Fatima 3 additional financing, suffered same fate with farm inputs and equipment cuttered away. The Mini Seed Laboratory Center for the Northeastern Zone was reduced to empty room.
What they took here was not grains, they were seed. You could even perceive the odor of the chemical that the seeds were preserved with. It was 3rd of November that this seed will be released to dry season farmers.
So in between now and the period of the commencement of the dry season, we will do the best we can. We are not going to relent. You shouldn't be defeated by hooliganism.
The only way out for future farming season, according to the stakeholders, is for both government and donor agencies to quickly pick up the pieces for the Sustainable Food Security Plan to succeed. In Jalingo, Joseph Sound Otsen, NTA News.
We'll take a short break now. When we return, Supreme Court to wield gavel on delayed processes. Perjury suit filed against Edo State helmsman Godwin Obaseki. These and more shortly. Please stay. You're welcome back to News Extra. The Supreme Court has come down hard on lawyers who it says continue to delay cases by refusing to file or respond to their cases on time. The Apex Court, in a ruling on a contract dispute, said it will not allow itself to be a tool in the hands of tricky litigants. Femi Okeo reports.
In July 2018, an appellant brief was served on an engineering and construction company requiring a response. But for 2.5 years, the respondents did not put up any reply, claiming they were never served. But just when the appellants approached the Supreme Court seeking to be heard based on the appellant's brief, the respondents showed up seeking for an extension of time to respond. In his ruling, Justice Sylvester Ongota, who led a 5-man panel of justices, came down heavily on the counsel to the respondents, warning that the court will not be a part of the hide-and-seek tricks of lawyers, particularly when there was proof of service in the court records. The Supreme Court awarded a 500,000 naira cost to be paid personally by the counsel to the respondents.
It's a novel case that lawyers, especially senior lawyer, must be here to maintain the integrity and honor and nobility of the legal profession.
The matter is now to be heard on the 20th of this month. In Abuja, Femi Okeo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on Wednesday fixed November 16 for hearing of an alleged perjury suit instituted against Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki by the All Progressives Congress APC. Judiciary correspondent Vera Chumuba, who was at the Federal High Court, reports that Justice Ahmed Mohammed fixed the date after the suit was mentioned.
The suit filed by the All Progressive Congress has Edo State Governor Obaseki, People's Democratic Party and INEC as defendants. The plaintiffs, APC and Edebo Williams, are asking the court to make a declaration that the claim by Obaseki that he has a degree from the University of Ibadan in 1976 was false. They further want the court to declare at fault and contrary to Section 31 of the Electoral Act 2010, Obaseki's claim in INEC Form CEF 001 that he obtained a degree in classical studies from the University of Ibadan. Counsel to APC Aki Olujimi SAN told the court that the matter was for mention and applied for an adjournment for a date for hearing. Counsel to Obaseki Ken Mosier, however, informed the court that he had filed a motion on notice challenging the competence of some processes filed by the APC. He, however, said he was not opposed to an adjournment for hearing in January. He urged counsels to cooperate with the court so that the suit could be determined within the time frame.
It does not look like a certificate issued by the University of Ibadan, considering what other certificates issued by that institution look like.
They've been raising this issue of certificate. This is about the fourth court where we are having to do it. We've been to the Court of Appeal over it, the Election Tribunal, Federal Court, Benin. So it's a well-trodden path.
The matter has been fixed for 16th of November. In Abuja, Vera Chumuba, NTA News.
Now, in liberal democracies, budget process involves division of labor within the ambit of separation of powers. The activities at the National Assembly in the last 2 weeks captured this constitutional process. The Independent National Electoral Commission, the Nigerian Navy, and the Federal Road Safety Commission were at the National Assembly to provide justification for their 2021 budget. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The scrutiny of the 2021 budget at the National Assembly has continued with increased number of government establishments providing explanations on their financial proposals. Before the Senate Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, presented the Commission's 2021 budget of 40 billion naira and announced that it will commence continuous voter registration in the first quarter of 2021.
Because of the pressure, we have made a provision for 1 billion for conduct of elections. The only election that we can foresee happening in 2021 is actually the Anambra governorship election towards the end of the year.
There should be a mean to all this issue of corruption and so on. So the salary structure should be a little bit higher than what it is now, so that it can encourage them to perform their job effectively.
The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, defended the 135 billion 2021 budget of the Nigerian Navy, while the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Commission, Boboye Oyeyemi, provided justification for the Commission's budget of 47.7 billion naira.
Priority projects for 2021 are fleet renewal, operations, logistics, fleet support infrastructure, capacity development, and welfare, personnel welfare.
That the committee will wish to take an oversight to the Naval War College and Dubai and other areas where you are building your ships.
Personnel, and the provision made for us is 24,703, so that means a shortfall of 66 staff. So we need a correction of 226 million.
The Senate Committee on Capital Market met with the management of the Securities and Exchange Commission and other agencies under its purview, during which it emphasized on the need to strengthen Nigeria's commodity exchange, while the Senate Committee on Aviation rounded off its 3-day public hearing with bills that seek to repeal and re-enact the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria and the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau.
Create what I call confidence in the market, such that all those money that is just idling there, people, they know it doesn't do anything, it's in their interest to also invest such fund.
Then the issue of the name of fund, authority actually corrodes regulation, so to speak. And I think it's important that we follow the global best practice. That's why fund is seeking to change the name from authority.
The point has always been, is it impossible for us to make sure that those who will be coming to this business are encouraged to look at the possibility of acquiring the propeller engine planes that are cheaper to manage?
The executive bills are part of the federal government's aviation sector reform process. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The third tier of government is the one closest to the people at the grassroots. But this arm of government is yet to attain financial independence, as it is still tied to the apron of chief executives at the state level. Efforts of government at the center to correct this abnormality was highlighted when the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission appeared before House Committee on Finance and Budget Defense. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Chairman of the commission explained that there is an executive intervention in that regard, but the problem still persists.
Even Mr. President issued an executive order. Right now, they are paying directly to local government. That is the states, but it still goes to the state before they pay. So what we are saying is that it should be paid directly. A member from the local government should be part of that Federation Account Allocation Committee and get their own check direct from the source.
Why the National Assembly agreed that they needed the autonomy, the state assemblies, of course, did not support it.
The committee said it will pursue a constitutional amendment to put the matter to rest. The Comptroller General, Nigerian Correctional Service, while giving a rundown of the 2020 budget performance, dwelt on the challenges of infrastructure across the country.
Maintenance in custodial center security and jail delivery is a problem. Overcrowding as a result of large number of awaiting trial persons is still a very, very big challenge.
Major task for us is to ensure effective implementation of the Correctional Act 2019, as it holds the key to effective functioning of the service.
House Committee on Sports also engaged the Minister of Youth and Sports Development on the ministry's projection for 2021.
If we totally concentrate on youth empowerment, entrepreneurship skills, there are other youths that have talent, sporting talent. So we need to focus on sports as well.
We realized that we needed to build up our capital, the capital side of our budget. we have that capital reserve that we can carry out the necessary projects either for youth or for sports.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
What would have been a cheering news for university students who have been out of school since March this year due to university strike has failed to materialize as negotiations between the government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities is yet to reach a conclusion 7 months after. Correspondent Emmanuel Ayumu reports that part of the reasons of the meeting did not progress was due to the absence of the Ministers of Education and Finance, who were said to be at the budget defense in the National Assembly. However, the closed-door meeting ended with the university lecturers unwilling to respond to questions from the media.
Something to tell Nigerians what you have achieved today. So we've just continued from where we stopped, but there is nothing new. There is nothing new. There is nothing new. Thank you.
Because of the economic situation, because of COVID affliction, we cannot really pay you the 110 billion which they are demanding for revitalization. They offered 20 billion. On end academic allowances, the government offered 30 billion to all unions and universities. The government has processed the 30 billion and is ready for payment into the university system. The only snag there now is that ASU now says this 30 billion is for us alone. It doesn't involve non-academic staff. Otherwise, the money that was processed last week, because it was in the offer given to them, it was to have been paid on or before 6th of November. We don't have a date for the next meeting because, as I said earlier, the government side will meet on Friday. And after Friday, we'll communicate ASU.
Okay, let's take a breather now. In the next segment, Nigeria to acquire nuclear plant plus safe landing for Nigeria's lords or the skies in Kainji. Great to know you're still with us. The Nigerian Military High Command has expressed determination to finally dislodge Boko Haram insurgents and ISWAP criminals from their enclaves following the troops' neutralization of 75 members of the insurgents groups and recovery of large number of arms and ammunition in various operations conducted between 28th September to 31st October 2020. Acting Director Defense Media Operations Brigadier General Bernard Onyeko disclosed this while briefing newsmen at the Nigerian Army Super Camp 1 Ngamdu. Abakar Mohammed Musa reports.
The Nigerian troops under the auspices of Operation Fireball under Operation Lafia Doli is aimed at clearing and decimating remnants of Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists from their identified enclaves in the northeast region.
As a result of the aggressive and offensive actions carried out by the troops, several terrorist elements have been neutralized as large number of their equipment were captured, while some were equally destroyed in the process. In this regard, a total of 75 Boko Haram Islamic State of West African Province terrorists were neutralized within this period.
According to the Acting Director, Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyeko, the operation has been engaged in aggressive clearance operations, ambushes, robust day and night patrols, leading to tremendous success within the short period of its existence.
Within this period, regrettably too, we lost an officer and 2 gallant soldiers who have said earlier paid the supreme price, while 4 other soldiers were wounded in action over the period. However, the wounded soldiers have since been evacuated to military facility where they are responding to treatment.
Brigadier General Bernard commended troops for their resilience, doggedness, and commitment exhibited since the beginning of Operation Fireball, encouraging them not to rest on their oars, but build on the successes recorded so far to ensure peace and security in the region. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohammed Musa, NTA News.
In another development, a combat attack and reconnaissance aircraft will soon be joining the Nigerian fleet at the 407 Air Combat Training Group, KNG. Periodic depot maintenance and other upgrades are taking place in preparation for its arrival. Defense correspondent Najat Tijani reports.
Not one, but 12 Super Tucano A29 aircraft are expected in the country at the 407 Air Combat Training Group KNG in Niger State, where work is ongoing to accommodate them, along with the Nigerian Air Force personnel who will operate and maintain them. Personnel have already been flexing their maintenance muscles with the ongoing periodic depot maintenance of the Alpha jets on the base.
So that clearly shows that we are making progress in terms of building capacity, and also in terms of developing our capability. How many fighter aircraft do we now additionally have as a result of these efforts we are seeing here in KNG? And the whole idea is to mobilize every asset in the Air Force in order to utilize it to ensure that we are secured and we are safe.
Previously carried out overseas, the in-country servicing, including engine recovery, is honing the skills of Nigerian Air Force technicians and saving the country billions of dollars. It is also being carried out on the Charlie 130 Hercules in Lagos and the F-7 in Makurdi. The Air Chief, accompanied by the Air Officer commanding Air Training Command and other branch chiefs, also inspected facilities and other infrastructure on the base, expected to be completed by December 2020, ahead of the projected delivery of the A29 in the second quarter of 2021. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Thank you, Najah. Now, when you hear the words nuclear energy, what comes to mind is usually a negative thought, especially about nuclear bomb. But this technology has positive applications in medicine, mining, power, food, and agriculture, to mention but a few. Consequently, Nigerian scientists are working out a modality aimed at improving on research and development in nuclear application that will be deployed to these sectors. Chairman, Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission, Mukhtar Ali, made this known at the National Workshop on Stakeholders' Needs and Requirements for the Deployment of Multipurpose Research Reactor in Nigeria. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports.
In nuclear technology, some specific elements are manipulated and transformed into energy as a result of change in the nucleus of atoms. Nigeria currently has only one research reactor in operation, a 30-kilowatt miniature neutron source research reactor domiciled in Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. It is used for neutron activation analysis, education, and training. These scientists drawn from across the country are focusing on a strategy to overcome shortcomings such as medical radioisotopes, neutron beam experiments, and other advanced applications in the current reactor.
And there is also a source of revenue. With the multipurpose research reactor, radioisotopes can be produced. These radioisotopes are very good in hospitals, especially for the treatment of diseases like cancer. The nuclear power plant is going to project Nigeria because electricity is the bedrock for all kinds of development.
The new reactor will be capable of producing enough radioisotopes to meet local and regional demand for applications in medicine, industry, and agriculture. Professor Sunday Jonah has been part of nuclear energy development in Nigeria.
The then PTF chairman, who is now the present president, President Muhammad Buhari, took it upon himself to provide the intervention needed for the project to be sited at the Ahmadu Bello University's area. The president made mention that he is totally in support of peaceful application of nuclear science and technology for socio-economic development.
When completed, the multipurpose reactor will be the only one in West Africa capable of large-scale radioisotopes production, which is a springboard to acquiring nuclear power plant for electricity generation. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
4 final air accident and serious incident reports, including 9 safety recommendations, have been released by the Accident Investigation Bureau. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Anyimiro reports that the update is part of efforts to forestall reoccurrence of air crashes in the country.
One of the foundations on which safety in the aviation industry is built is the timely release of air accident reports, which is as critical as the accident investigation itself.
These 9 safety recommendations make a total of 196 safety recommendations released since the inception of AIB Nigeria, and a total of 115 safety recommendations released under the current administration.
Some of the investigations reveal underlying factor due to late initiation of a go-around after touchdown, most of which resulted in the loss of directional control of the aircraft after landing. Other factors include gaps in training of pilots, poor weather conditions, wet runway and patches of standing water. The inability of the pilot to control the aircraft landing due to inadequate power to enable the pilot maintain the appropriate approach profile was also reported.
Final report till date, we've released 54 in total. But since the inception of this administration in 2017, we've released 35 out of that 54.
In all, the investigations emphasize that aviation stakeholders must recognize their roles in ensuring safer skies through the application of AIB recommendations. Emmanuel Anyimiro, NTA News.
We'll take you to Lagos now. Residents of Ibeju, Lekki and Ekpe divisions of Lagos State can now breathe a sigh of relief as Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu rolls out a major infrastructural overhaul in those areas of the state. Nosal Solar reports that Etiosa Lekki-Ekpe Expressway is being reconstructed after 40 years.
Residents in the divisions trunked the ceremony where Governor Sanwo-Olu formally kick-started the project. The road was constructed in 1981 as a single carriageway but underwent an upgrade to a 2-lane carriageway in 2006. Its condition, however, became deplorable as a result of population growth and increased vehicular traffic. Governor Sanwo-Olu's intervention would see the entire stretch from Eleko to Ekpe dualized on rigid pavement with 3 lanes on each side. A lane on each side will be dedicated as tollway bridges only for heavy-duty vehicles.
It's an eye-opener for Nigeria as a whole that the economy will start booming anytime from now.
I think that it will enable us to harness the opportunities that we see around here, particularly within the Ibeju-Lekki belt.
The governor, while declaring the project open, said the ceremony symbolized his administration's revolutionary efforts at making life better for Lagos residents and improving the ease of doing business in the state.
We're taking the right of way that will ensure that when we are ready for our rail line, the right of way is there already. And so we're building that right of way to ensure that a rail corridor also comes to this corridor, to this part of Lagos in no distant future.
When completed, the road will connect several communities, including Eleko, Onosa, Alatishe, Lekki, Ibeju-Lekki, and Ekpe. In Lagos, Nosa, Osula, NTA News.
In another development, Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado-Bayero, has called on well-meaning Nigerians to invest in the country to lift more youths out of poverty. The traditional ruler made the call while commissioning an ultra-modern printing company in Abuja. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports.
Century First-Class Printing Company is a child of necessity whose main aim is to bridge the gap in the printing industry and to encourage education for all Nigerians. Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado-Bayero, says the establishment of the printing company is in line with President Muhammadu Buhari's administration's drive to empower youths
another opportunity to create jobs for people. It's another opportunity to create business, to boost the economy. And I want to thank you that you are contributing to the success of government, to the success of the president by making jobs and economic opportunities.
Well, interesting story there, but we apologize for the loss of audio in parts of that report. Now, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Vision 2030, which is leaving no one behind, is being complemented by a non-governmental organization, Deaf Women Allowed Initiative. The organization is drumming support for the establishment of disability health desk in both public and private healthcare facilities. Kenneth Nanim reports that the group is optimistic that the initiative will ensure more persons with disabilities have access to adequate healthcare services.
Helen Bioko Alase is a wife and mother of 4. Though deaf, she is breaking boundaries as the executive director of Deaf Women Allowed Initiative. Her experience with healthcare givers over the years, which she narrates to her audience, has not been palatable, as she encounters communication barrier, hindering her from accessing the best healthcare she desires, especially during her antenatal periods. This communication gap, she believes, is also a stumbling block to many of her kind who desire access to healthcare services.
I was pregnant. I went to the antenatal. I can't communicate with the nurses there. I'll be the first to go there and the last to come back, taking home nothing. Deaf women cannot explain to the doctor what is actually wrong with them, and sometimes they end up getting wrong diagnosis. This is going to be a call on all government and all healthcare workers in Nigeria. Whenever you need us.
The organization and partners are speaking out loud to tackle this challenge, as they are working on a glossary on sign language interpretation to change the narrative.
Universal health coverage has simplified everything. One of their documents says, and I quote, ensure that all people, including women with disability, obtain the health services they need without suffering.
And we also hope that many development partners will also key into this to support OPDs to advance disability rights.
FCT Primary Healthcare Board has already keyed into the initiative.
We are just on it. We have to capture this so that we can be able to train all our healthcare workers in FCT on sign languages.
The hope of this forum is that words will be translated into action by ensuring that sign language translators are deployed to all health facilities to enable Helen and the likes benefit from the universal health coverage in line with the Sustainable Development Goal 3, which is good health and well-being. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
The growing desire of meeting future requirements of qualified manpower in tackling health challenges, especially in rural communities, is giving critical stakeholders in the health sector concern for responsive action. Abakar Usman Akwanga reports that one of the key players and frontline advocate Women for Health project is driving a renewed participatory platform on NTA Tuesday Live for accessible and affordable health system.
Strategic role of health officers in any society is critical to the existence of productive population with maximum impact on growth and development. However, the growing concern in bridging the gap between male and female practitioners in the health sector is one of the crucial areas receiving stakeholders' attention.
The way Women for Health has been designed even deals with this issue. So in some of the states, we have already actually exited from providing direct support for the last 2 years. And in those 2 years, we've just been providing just limited technical support. And what we've seen over that period is that most of the initiatives have been sustained even without direct support.
Our young women, our young boys, they need the support, the push. So quite a number of them in the entire community, they have never, she might be the only one, or there are very few who have completed secondary school. So and that's why they became role model in the community. And what we need, and that's why I'm very proud of our governors and who had picked that up and really supporting them, because without that support, they wouldn't have been able to make it.
Training and adequate funding of health institutions with strategy to encourage massive enrollment of female is key in increasing access to health services in rural societies.
Student information management, SIMS, e-learning concept, training of preceptors, these are all the part of the support we receive from the Women for Health, and these are it have become a national program today. It's not only a program for the 6 states supported. The entire 36 states training institution of nursing and midwifery benefited from this initiative, and that has improved their training capacity.
Guests are optimistic that a robust approach to guarantee steady supply of female practitioners to the hinterland will address cultural and religious factors hindering the access of quality health services. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
In the next segment of the news, the smoke and debris of the looting and vandalism of the past fortnight begins to clear. It leaves a bitter sting to the eyes and some blisters in the legs. Find out. Thanks for staying. Protests across the world are major indices for pressing home demands, yearnings or aspirations of a group. But in the event of infiltration of a peaceful protest by hoodlums and other negative characters into the movement, the desired goal may not be achieved. The recent NSAS protest, which was overshadowed by wanton lootings and vandalization of both public and private property, as well as other national monuments by hoodlums, is far from the norm across the world. Coalition of civil society organizations led by Sub-Sahara Peace and Awareness Foundation describes the scenario as a monumental setback to the country's economy, which is managing to get back on its feet in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Ilyas Ali Yakubu reports.
Caused by Sub-Saharan Peace and Awareness Foundation indicates that the level of destructions recorded as a result of the NSAS protest is said to have reached trillions of naira. In addition, more than 70 police personnel were killed and 200 police stations destroyed across the country. While commending the federal government and the Nigerian police for the prompt response to the demands of the NSAS protesters, the coalition, however, urged the government to accelerate the workability of government programs aimed at empowering the youth.
We therefore condemn in strong terms the wanton looting, vandalism, and unwarranted burning of our national monuments and properties running into trillions of naira.
We'll want to meet with the heads of these ethnic groups, to see how we can ensure that peaceful harmony returns back and exists among these communities where it has been affected.
The CSOs also promised to engage community leaders, traditional rulers and youth organizations in various communities, as well as civil society forum to discuss post-NSAS protests and proffer solutions to avert future occurrences. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
The roads in Lagos are busy, but without the traffic managers, which has led to gridlock and chaos as motorists have had to deal with the situation unabated for the past 1 week. Dr. Ogunyemi, who went around the city, now reports.
The traffic situation in Lagos is one that reeks of perpetual fear, as most commuters and motorists have had to deal with delayed travel time, unexpected delays in their journeys and getting to their destinations. This situation has largely been attributed to the absence of traffic management personnel as well as security operatives from the road. Where I am standing is at Deyemo Alakija, a major stretch along the Lekki-Epe Expressway, and the traffic lights here are not working. A lot of vehicles just speed through, not really caring for the next man who is about to either come out of the junction or continue on the stretch of the road.
Traffic in Taraba is so hectic that even before I got to work this morning, it takes almost about 4 hours plus.
The roads, government should come to the road from Lekki down to Aja to Saguta Road is very bad. They should come to our aid in that area.
The withdrawal of policemen has really exposed the lawlessness.
Now, another significant thing that I noticed is that along the stretch of the highway and other highways where commercial motorcycles, popularly known as Okada, have been banned, they have now seemed to return to the road as the situation sort of speaks to a free-for-all, if you may call it that. Nobody is there to regulate, nobody is there to enforce the laws.
In Lagos, NTA News.
I can imagine how tired people will be before they get to work. It's okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed. That's the saying for the NTA and other institutions that suffered losses in the wake of the NSAS violence in Cross River State. Governor Ben Ayade is a friend indeed, for he has promised to support NTA Calabar to come back on air and provide logistics for the West African Examination Council, WAEC, to restore its operations in the state. The governor stated this during a comprehensive inspection visit to public and private property as well as businesses destroyed by hoodlums a fortnight. Paul Abel reports.
The Cross River State Governor, while inspecting the vandalized transmitter, control room and studio at the station, decried the wanton destruction of property by the hoodlums. He emphasized that the wave of violence observed is not part of the culture of the people and appealed to youths to eschew violence while keeping hope alive.
I must say my soul goes with NTA, its authority, for what has happened here. And we are just doing a compilation, a guided tour, just to get together a total idea of what has really occurred in monetary terms and see how we can proceed with federal government to see how we can get you back on the air again.
The governor also commended the youths for protecting the piles and pylon factory for Bakassi Deep Sea Port at Awi in Akampa local government area and pleaded with the WAEC authorities to suspend the move to temporarily relocate its branch office to Uyo.
I sincerely feel that we can have an emergency action plan that can help you restore this office. But before we do that, I'm actually given an instruction that alternative accommodation should be provided immediately for WAEC. And we can also provide you 2 pickup immediately just to enable you to get back on your feet.
Other infrastructures visited include National Identity Management Commission, NIMSI, Cross River Basin Development Authority, Tinapa Hotel and Resorts, Calabar International Convention Center, CICC, Cross River State Ministries of Works and Aviation, the Vehicle Inspection Office, VIU, among others. On the entourage of the governor were the State Chief Judge and other judicial officers, Speaker and State House of Assembly members, traditional rulers, religious leaders, local government chairmen, among others.
In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Availability of information will help citizens act in ways considered lawful and socially correct. This explains the Memorandum of Understanding between the Nigerian Television Authority and Intradot to have its channels and content transmitted on the go from any part of the country through multiple electronic devices. Kolo Mohammed reports.
On the go is a new global norm where, in the absence of satellite instruments, viewers can tune in and watch television programs on all mobile electronic instruments, including local area dwellers. Executive Director News NTA, Muhammad Labbo, led the NTA team to sign the agreement.
Thank you very much for having confidence in the Nigerian Television Authority. And I'm sure that this agreement, when executed, will be to the mutual benefit of organizations.
Partners say NTA's reach in terms of broadcasts in 3 major local languages apart from English attracted them.
Oya Watch has signed an MOU with NTA to host all of NTA channels on various app stores, platforms, and on Android boxes and smart TVs. Basically, it's a digital television that you can watch on your phone, on your iPad, and on your laptop.
This is expected to break broadcast barriers in due course. In Abuja, Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Voices for rethinking youth development in Nigeria towards inclusiveness in all spheres of life is getting louder, with the youth keying into present government's plans to commence legal framework for it. Timothy Yusuf reports that issues of youth inclusiveness are becoming necessary following events of the past weeks.
Chairman of the Young Parliamentarians Forum, Kabir Tukura, is among many Nigerian youths that want young people to be involved in governance and believes it is part of the democratic process for citizens to demonstrate and demand their rights from their elected leaders and representatives.
There's an ever-increasing need for inclusion for young persons in governance and in decision-making.
For a nation to develop, conflict must be minimized.
Violence is never the answer, nor the solution to genuine agitations for the development of your country.
Many also share Kabiru's sentiments that rethinking youth development in Nigeria following the NSAS protest and the consequences thereafter has become imperative, especially in the face of government's efforts to look into their agitations.
It will be advisable for the NSAS leadership to ensure dialogue in the spirit of their chosen approach of maximum civil conduct.
Nigeria is the cornerstone of the security of West Africa.
There is nothing that we can even compare to what God is using Nigerians to do in the diaspora.
The Young Parliamentarians Forum of the 9th Assembly, as part of efforts towards repositioning the Nigerian youth to realize their potential, is exploring novel and innovative approaches.
This retreat comes at a time of a new and intense wave of restiveness sweeping every part of our country. From the north to the south, east and west, there is palpable unease.
These exclusions are rooted in legal and policy frameworks of this country.
Young people are really looking forward to a constitutional amendment process that produces review to the Constitution for more youth inclusion.
More than ever before, we need to have a rethink about youth development.
Representative Kabir Tukura and his like at this strategy meeting are developing action points towards achieving effective solutions to challenges confronting youth development in Nigeria. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
We have sports and other stories in the concluding part of the news. To sports now. West African Football Union Under-20 tournament scheduled to take place from 18th of this month has been postponed. Badia Dele tells us more on Sports Update.
Nigeria's Africa Cup of Nations qualifying match against Sierra Leone, built for the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, Benin City, on Friday, 13th November, will not be open to fans. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and Ministry of Youth and Sports Development have informed the Nigeria Football Federation and Edo State government that the ban on audience at match venues still exists. In another development, Nigeria's Flying Eagles will have to wait for another time to fight for qualification for the 2021 CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations after the Togolese Football Association on Wednesday revealed that it will not be hosting the 2020 WAFU B Under-20 Championship. The qualifying tournament, earlier scheduled to begin on November 18, has been postponed due to the spike in the number of coronavirus cases in the West African country. With the 7-time African champions who have been training in Abuja now waiting to be informed of the new date, head coach of the team, Ladan Boso, is confident his team will come out good.
It's still a work in progress. I think we should be able to present a good team that will make Nigeria proud.
Away from football, match day 5 of the Prudent Energy Handball Premier League, ongoing at the Package B of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja, produced some interesting results, with Rima Strikers of Sokoto defeating Confluence Stars 32-27 in the men's category. Women's champions Safety Babes had to dig deep to beat Kada Queens 25-20.
The speed and other accuracy are not as perfect as it is. But notwithstanding, we still want to thank the Federation and the Ministry of Youth and Sport for accepting this tournament to be hosted.
The death has been announced of Mr. Babatunde Saiki. Babatunde Saiki died on Friday, the 30th of October, aged 54. Until his demise, he was managing news and current affairs of the Nigerian Television Authority Lagos Network Center. At 7 a.m. on Friday, November 6, his body will leave Military Hospital Yaba, Lagos, for his hometown, Igara, Akoko Edo local government area of Edo State. At 4 p.m. there will be a requiem mass at Mary Mother of Mercy Catholic Church, Ufa, Igara. He is survived by an aged mother, wife, children, brothers, and sisters. The death has also been announced of Mr. Augustine Johnson. He died on Sunday, 1st November 2020, at the age of 72. The late Augustine Johnson was a one-time staff of Votniski Insurance Company Limited and later worked as a store officer at the Industrial Training Fund, JUS. Before going into private business, he will be buried on Friday, 6th November 2020, after a brief funeral service at the Gudu Christian Cemetery, Abuja, at 11 o'clock in the morning. He is survived by his wife, children, grandchildren, and siblings. Amongst them is David Johnson. And the death has occurred of Mr. Moses Nabuchi Iyi. He was aged 82. There will be a requiem mass at St. Mary's Catholic Church, Ezi Ukehi, on Friday, the 6th of November 2020. Reception and general funeral rites follows immediately after the interment at the church compound. The Thanksgiving Mass is at 9 a.m. on Sunday, and 8th of November at St. Mary's Catholic Church, Ezi Ukehi. And a quick check of the weather prospects for Thursday.
Hello and welcome. We do not expect much change in our weather over the north for Thursday, as dust haze should hold sway over this region with varying degrees of horizontal visibilities. Over the central region, haziness should be the prevailing weather. We also expect increased cloudiness, mid-level clouds, that is, as moisture moves up to this region. Morning rains are expected over the coast and parts of the inland areas of the southeast, and this rain should be by mid to late morning. But as we move into the afternoon and evening hours, we have better prospects of rainfall activities over the coast and the inland areas of the southeast and the southwest. And with moisture moving this far, we expect both daytime and nighttime temperatures to increase slightly over the central region and the south, while temperatures over the north should stay low and comfy. And that's it from this end. Thank you for watching. I remain Onyilo Desmond.
Thank you so much for the weather prospects, and that's it on NewsExtra for tonight. Thanks so much for being a part of it. I am Fatima Buba.